Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be learning about some advanced tips and tricks that you can use to spice up your Google Earth-based projects. But first, a few introductions. My name is Jordan, and I'm a tech lead manager of Google Earth, and I'm joined today by Josh Williams.
Hey, Jordan. I am Josh Williams. I teach high school in Austin, in the Austin area. I also tinker with Google Earth, Earth Engine, and the Maps API.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Josh. But before we get into some of the advanced stuff, let me recap just briefly what Earth's creation tools are. For a little bit of context, Google Earth's mission is to allow everyone to explore, create, and share the stories of our world. And to that end, last year, we launched a whole suite of creation tools in Earth on Web that allows anyone to annotate the globe, adding their own points of interest, lines, polygons, and then add rich text and media to each feature of their project. These projects, they can be local to the device or be cloud-based. And the advantage of cloud-based projects is that they come with the same collaborative features you would expect from other Google products like Docs, Sheets, etc., in that you can share with others and collaboratively edit them. You can kind of think of it as Google Slides, but only with an emphasis on the globe. However, as Josh will show you, one of the lesser known features of creation tools is that while you're editing a point of interest, there's a little button in the corner of the rich text editor that allows you to switch into HTML editing mode. And if you're willing to do a little bit of coding, you can create some really amazing experiences. And Josh is one of the people who has done some amazing stuff using this trick. Could you take us through some of the examples?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Jordan says, I really do enjoy the HTML option in the panels. He says it's like Google Slides and Google Earth. I think it's more like Google Sites with Google Earth when you start using that custom HTML, because then you can really start interacting with like basically a web page with a globe. So it's really fantastic. One of the example I can show you would be this neighborhoods world apart right here. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to zoom out, and you can see all these different neighborhoods where you'll be able to see kind of the difference between maybe the more affluent and less affluent people, or at least their housings. So I'm going to present it, and when I present it, what you're going to see on the panel is actually the Maps API. So you can take this and drag Google Maps around.
Nice.
And the reason why this actually came to be was because before creation tools, when this was all just KML, this table of contents didn't exist. And I wanted a way for people to be able to navigate to a place without spinning the globe. So if you push on this map pen, for example, we'll fly down to Brazil.
That's super cool that you have that interactivity between the map view and the globe view, and you kind of control both from each direction.
Right, and you get this really cool play with scale, right? Kind of my favorite thing to do with Google Earth is to mess around with this idea of scale. And what's really, kind of the plus one to this for me is because it's HTML, you can put anchor tags in here. So if I click on this bonus, or if a student did in this case, you'll just, that href will actually take you to a street view. So it's kind of forcing the student to go down another level. And then from here, once they're in street view, they're lost. I mean, they're looking up and then they're looking down, and then they start asking questions. It's like, well, wait a second. They're really close together. What's going on here?
Yeah, this is a really amazing example of kind of economic disparity. Your screen did go a little bit blurry there for a moment. I think we're having some kind of bandwidth issues, but let's press on. We can't really control the internet here, so thanks. This is a great example. Do you have some other ones?
Yeah. So kind of another one that's people enjoy actually came from the Voyager team. So they were putting together these quizzes and some of their stories, and I was thinking I could probably have a go at it and kind of do this myself a little bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, and I'm going to hit present. You'll see some things disappear on us. Cool. That was a spoiler, but that's all right. The question is, what U.S. state is closest to Africa? I don't think you could tell from the spoiler, but go ahead, Jordan, give it a go.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I know the answer because I built the thing. Didn't really originally know it, but I know it now. You'll see that it gives a check mark for the correct answer, and then the maybe less correct responses. And then even gives you, if you want to use the measuring tool, go ahead and measure that out, or just look at these paths right here.
Nice. And I love the fact that you're drawing like the line connecting them across dynamically as they move through the quiz. And to be honest, I actually thought this was the Florida Keys. So I learned something today.
It's this flat map that ruined your education right there.
Oh, excellent point. Excellent point.
Yeah, see, even though you do look at a globe most of your working life, but it's all right. Um,
So cool. So how does someone go about going after and doing this sort of thing for themselves?
yeah, we can do a quick example. You want to do like a narrated tour type thing?
Yes, absolutely. That sounds good. A lot of people ask, how do I add this kind of experience to my tour? How do I narrate what's going on as they move through a story? So yes, that's a great example.
Yeah, so I normally just type in, because you're using HTML, you just type in HTML5 and then whatever you're looking for. So in this case, HTML5 audio. And it normally takes you to a website that looks similar to this, right? And this is a very simple page. You just, your doc type, your HTML, your body, but really this is the HTML5 part. It's this audio control. So I figured like this is kind of like the root of any code. Like if this works, I can add value to it. Like I can, add uh, to the menu here and kind of do more stuff with it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, or I have already copied it actually. Let me go find that real quick. And I'm going to put it right here. And this is the code itself. Now, unfortunately, I don't have this horse MP3, right? So I'm gonna I'm gonna have to kind of find one that I have. So I do just happen to have one kind of stationed over there, and I'm going to get rid of that because I just want to deal with MP3s. And these uh, audio files can be just hosted on your Google Cloud Storage, or your server, or another storage cloud storage solution if you have one. But that's pretty much all you need for this to work in Google Earth. So I'm going to hit Control A to grab it all.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to hit Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to go back to my Google Earth here. And this was the example I think we were using earlier. No, that wasn't the example. This is the example.
There you go.
So this is when Jordan was talking about, the little nature of HTML. This is what he was looking at. So I'm going to edit it. And again, when you initially come on, you'll have this plain the template editor. So you hit those three dots and switch to HTML.
Yep.
And I'm just going to paste that code right there. It's going to auto save because it's all in the cloud, and then we present.
Yay. Success. So if you would for a minute, flip back to the actual code and kind of tell us a little bit more about the magic here. So
Yeah, so this is just the generic. So every browser has like a generic player. That's why it works. So this would work in Firefox, or any other browser that Earth is working in. But the player might look a little bit differently. So normally what I like to do is kind of, again, use a little CSS and make things a little bit more pretty, let's say, less generic. I'll put it like that.
there you go.
Um, and right now I have a media, so I actually have an image in this one. I'm going to go ahead and take that out because I don't want to be confusing people here. And it's really not that much code. It's 44 lines, and I'm using Material Design Lite pretty much as my styling. So I don't have to do
Mhm.
all the CSS. It's already pretty much done for me. And this should look very familiar
Yeah.
because that's the same code as before. You have your audio tag with your source. So I'm going to replace this source with I go back and grab an audio. That right there, between there. And
Yep.
then I'm going to head and Control A to grab all of that code now. So all 44 lines of it instead of 7 lines. I'm going to copy it, go to Google Earth, and then I'm just going to hit Control A and just delete it all out, and then Control V to paste it all and just kind of keep it clean. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a large info box. So it's again, it's automatically saved to the cloud, so I don't have to worry about hitting save and go. You just hit go.
Mm. Yeah, it looks a lot nicer, and I love the kind of the flip-flop interactivity of it too. The other kind of key benefit I think of taking a little time to kind of soup it up and style it is that it also gives you consistency across browsers. So it looks the same for everyone who's looking at it because Firefox and Chrome can have different ways that they show audio play controls when you don't do something like this. So
Yeah, you can see that here, right?
yeah,
You
so yeah, walk us through this. So you're hiding the audio tag I see there, and then how do you get the buttons to actually show?
So here's the span right here is where the button actually is. And again, it's all material design. And then there's just a simple on-click function. So the styling, it takes a lot more lines here if I was to actually space it correctly than the JavaScript. The JavaScript is mostly just, see right here, it's
Mhm.
element pause, element play, right? So it just grabs that element ID and it's pausing and playing. All this other code is just switching it from the triangle play button to the pause button. And I'm using that as the conditional statement. If you see this, then play. If you see this, then pause.
Cool, very nice. So this is a great example. Have you seen? Has anyone else actually used this to build kind of a real narrative, a real story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually do work in the help forums as well for Google Earth. I shouldn't say work. I, I hobby in the help forums for Google Earth. And this guy named Pete had a post there, and he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to get sound into Google Earth. Does anybody know how to do that?" And I kind of knew how to do that. So we kind of exchanged posts within the help forum, and he created this fantastic COVID-19 sound map where he's kind of crowdsourcing sound of places because every place sound is part of every place, and he has this really neat project of doing this. So when you go to it, you see all these pins. There's, if you can see in the table of contents here, there's 182 samples right now. And if you click on any of these samples here, then you can kind of fly. Well, the camera's going to fly down to it, and then the pop-up balloon is going to come up, and you see the styling looks very similar. Um, and you can see this street view and go ahead and play.
Very kind of eerie quiet for such a kind of urban area there.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that when this image was taken, that it was uh, lot more busy
Yeah,
than that
yeah.
sounded.
Very cool example of kind of the effect of the pandemic. I really love this sound map as well because it also kind of highlights the collaborative nature of Earth projects like this, and the fact that he was able to get all these different people to record all these sounds, during the lockdowns and stuff, and contribute them back into this really compelling experience. Um, this kind of goes to show the sort of inspirational things you could do if you're willing to just think a little bit about the story you want to tell, and dabble into some of the code and how to do it. For someone who wants to get started doing this for themselves, what can they do? Where do they
Um,
start?
so I think we're going to have some things in the session notes for this. And also, there's a GitHub page that I've kind of put together with a bunch of little templates. The guy from the University of Michigan, Professor DeBlum, he kind of helped me streamline this thing. So I was trying to teach him this, and in that process of teaching him how to do this, we got these templates really easy. So if you'll notice in the code earlier, it just said replace and then title, replace description. You pretty much just hit Control F and then type in replace, and you'll find areas where you need to make your changes.
Yeah. We'll make sure that that GitHub site with all these templates and all these code samples is available in the notes on this session. On top of this, we'll also create an Earth project for everyone here that's watching. We'll link that in the session notes as well, and to let you just start trying this in Google Earth, because what you can do in Google Earth is take a project, load it up, and then make a copy for yourself, and then kind of tweak it for your own. So we'll make sure there's a sample project for everyone here to use as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Josh. This is really an exciting way to kind of spice up your Earth projects, and I really enjoyed, and I hope others have benefited from this as well. And thank you all for watching.